Shabbat Shalom. When you picture the revelation at Har Sinai, Mount Sinai, you picture a mountain that could have been a volcano, erupting with smoke and fire. The mountain trembled, the earth shook, the birds were quiet, the sound of the shofar was heard, and God's voice spoke. God spoke to the Israelites, who were so fearful that they enjoined Moses to go up Mount Sinai to hear what God had to say. They said, we're scared of hearing God's voice anymore, lest we die. You go and you get the 10 utterances and go back and tell us what God wants us to do. We will do, and then we will listen what was required of us. The dramatic scene belies the life-affirming principles and values that underlie all the mitzvot, mishpatim and chukim, all the commandments, statutes and laws of our tradition. At Mount Sinai, this dramatic scene, God gives the 10 utterances, the value concepts by which we should live. These value concepts were installed in Jewish life through the legislation of law, of halakha, through the centuries, as Judaism evolved and grew and matured into what we know today, and is still growing and evolving. While many of the halachot found in the Torah and in rabbinic writings reflect the harsh reality of a bygone era, many of the laws of Judaism instill compassion and love for our fellow creatures and indeed for the planet on which we live. Two of these laws are found in this week's parasha, Behar. Behar meaning on the mountain. It's a double parasha, Behar-Bechukotai. The first parasha, Behar, relates the two laws of Shenat HaShemitah, the year of release, and Shenat HaYovel, the Jubilee year. According to the Torah, Shenat HaShemitah comes every 7 years, when the land is to be left unharvested, uncultivated. For 6 years, the Israelite farmer in the land of Israel would sow his seed and plant his crops and harvest them. The 7th year was a Sabbath for the land. The land was to be untouched. Any crops that grew would be available to the farmer, his family, his slaves, the poor, livestock. And then the next year, he'd once again cultivate the land. The book of Devarim, the book of Deuteronomy, extends this law, the laws of Shenat HaShemitah, the year of release, and teaches that all debts shall be annulled. Our parasha continues introducing the concept of Shenat HaYovel, the Jubilee year. We're meant to count 7 sabbatical years, making 49 years, and the year after that is to be a Jubilee year. A year where slaves are set free, Hebrew slaves are set free. A year in which all land that was sold during the 49 years prior must be returned to the original owners or their heirs, thus restoring equilibrium in society. The two laws are there to remind us, and just as we rest every 7th day from our labor, a chance for us to recharge our batteries, to spend the time as a community together, worshiping God, studying Torah, spending quality time with family and friends, refreshing ourselves and our neshamot, our souls, every Shabbat. Just as we do that, so the land itself needs to rest every 7th year. And society has to be restored to what it should be. All debts are annulled. People go back to the status quo. The Torah points out in our parasha that the laws of the sabbatical year and the Jubilee year were given on Mount Sinai. The contrast between this trembling mountain, dramatic scene, the scene of fear that instilled fear in the hearts of the Israelites, on the one hand, and these laws of compassion and kindness, and restoration of equality, is a wonderful metaphor for life. Life is challenging, especially in these times, modern times. Life is very busy. We have a chance to refresh ourselves every 7th day. Nature is very busy, evolving and continuing to grow. And we as human beings take from nature. The Torah points out that every 7th year, nature must rest and refresh itself, so there'll be abundance for us to enjoy in the coming years. Very interesting that this idea of resting the land is such an ancient concept. We find it in our Torah. And yet, humanity has ignored this since the Industrial Revolution. Until recently, people have realized that the land needs to rest. And society needs to be restored to equilibrium, to be refreshed, so to continue to do God's work, making the world a better place. May we be inspired by our Torah portion to find within our tradition the values of compassion and kindness and love. May we be inspired by these values to continue our work, our sacred task of tikkun olam, of repairing the world under God's sovereignty. Ken Yiratzon.